Review video number 2. How to rearrange a linear equation to y equals mx plus b form, slope-intercept form. If you are given an equation in standard form, such as 2x plus 3y equals 9, then you will move the ax term to the other side, whether by addition or subtraction. Here, my ax term is 2x, so I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. Now I have 3y equals negative 2x plus 9. I'm going to isolate y. This is 3 times y, so I'm going to do the opposite, which is divide both sides by 3. Now, each of these terms on the right side gets divided by 3. So, negative 2 divided by 3 is negative 2/3, and 9 divided by 3 is 3. So I can simplify it in my last step. This is converting standard form to slope-intercept form, and you will do this if you need to graph an equation in standard form. Or you could use x and y intercepts to graph it, as we did in the last video. Alright, steps for graphing linear equations. Rearrange your equation so that it's in y equals mx plus b form. You cannot graph an equation of a line unless y is all by itself on one side of the equal sign. Step 2, identify and graph the y-intercept, which is your b value. If the equation has no b value, then it is automatically 0, and you'll start at the origin. Step 3, starting at the y-intercept that you plotted from step 2, use the slope, that's m, to plot several more points on the line, and I'm going to demonstrate this. So, in my example, I'm given x plus 2y equals 4, and you should know that x means 1x. Follow the steps from the previous slide to solve the equation for y equals mx plus b form. Subtract 1x from both sides, divide both sides by 2. This is negative 1x over 2, which is the same thing as negative 1/2 x, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. So my slope is negative 1/2, and my y-intercept is 2. You start with the y-intercept on the graph. The y-intercept is found on the y-axis. So I go up 2 and put a point. My slope is negative 1 over 2. That means I'm going to go down 1 and to the right 2, a negative slope. And I'm going to repeat this pattern as many times as I can. The opposite of going down 1 and to the right 2 would be to go up 1 and to the left 2. And you can see that my points form a straight line. So connect them, make it as straight as you can, use a ruler. Alright, and draw arrows on either side. Solving systems of linear equations by graphing. So you have to be able to graph linear equations, graph lines, and then to solve a system, you're simply looking for where the two lines intersect. Alright, I'm going to show you how to do the calculator steps after I go through this example. So, it'll say solve the system. You're given y equals negative 3/2 x plus 3 and y equals x minus 2. Graph the orange line. The slope is negative 3 over 2. The y-intercept is 3. You always plot the y-intercept first, so go up 3 and put a point. From this point on the y-axis, you will go down 3 and to the right 2. Down 3, right 2. It's a negative slope, so it should look like you're going downhill. Remember, we read left to right, so we read graphs left to right as well. Here I have a slope of 1. And a y-intercept of negative 2. You start at the y-intercept, go down 2, put a point. From that point, go up 1, right 1. Remember, 1 is the same thing as 1 over 1. So up 1, right 1, up 1, right 1, up 1, right 1. And you continue to make that pattern in both directions. You can see that these two lines intersect at this point, which is the ordered pair 2, 0. Let me go over the calculator steps. have the two equations where y is by itself, then you can graph it. If you don't have y by itself, you can't use the calculator yet. You can't use graph paper yet. You have to have y alone. So from this point, if you have two equations where y is by itself, you could use your calculator if you don't want to use graph paper. So press the y equals button in the top left corner of the calculator. Type in both equations. One of them goes in y1, the other goes in y2. Then press the graph key in the top right corner. Press second and the trace button found in the top row. Move your arrow over to the right and highlight the word calc at the top of your screen. Then select option number 5. It says intersect. After you've done this, hit the enter key 3 times. At the bottom of your screen, it will say x equals a number and y equals a number. Write this answer as an ordered pair. Remember, ordered pairs have parentheses around them. You have just found where the two graphs intersect. This is called a solution. Now, systems of equations have different numbers of solutions. So, here's how you know how many solutions you have. If your two lines intersect, two lines can only meet at 0 places, 1 place, or everywhere. If they meet at 1 place. So here, by looking at the equations, again, you have to have y by itself before you can tell, you can compare the slopes. My slope is -2, my y-intercept is -3. Slope is 2, y-intercept is 5. If they have different slopes, then they will intersect at 1 place. And I graphed these to find this answer. Parallel lines mean that they never touch at all, but they also have the same exact slope. 2 is the slope, and 2 is the slope. These have different y-intercepts. The y-intercept for the first one is 1, and -6 for the other one. M equals 2, same slope, different y-intercepts, means the lines are parallel. They have no solution. Remember, a solution is where they meet. If they don't meet, they have no solution. Coinciding lines. It's just a fancy word to say they are the exact same line. They have the exact same slope, and they have the exact same y-intercept. Y equals 5x minus 9, and y equals -9 plus 5x. You can just reorder this, and they are exactly the same. Same slope, 5, same y-intercept, -9. This means they are the same line. They meet everywhere. Lines go on and on forever, so they have an infinite number of solutions. Solving systems of linear equations by substitution. So this is an algebraic method that means using algebra to find out where the two lines meet. When do you use substitution? If you have one variable on one side of the equal sign all by itself, then use substitution. If you have y equals something and y equals something, you have two equations y is already solved for, go graph it. It's easier. So in this equation, I have standard form, and in this one, I have slope-intercept form. I have one variable, y, all by itself. So I'm going to use substitution. And here's what you do. Y is equal to x minus 4. So I'm going to take x minus 4, and I'm going to replace y with x minus 4 in the other equation. I'm going to take this y out and put in x minus 4 right there where y was. Now there's one y, and I put a 1 out front so you can see that that 1 is still there. If it were any other number, you would actually have to distribute and things would change a little bit. But 1 times x is 1x, and 1 times -4 is -4. After you distribute, you'll combine like terms. -3x plus 1x is -2x. Carry down the -4 and the 2. Then it's just a two-step equation. Solve for x. Add 4 to both sides, you get 6. Divide both sides by -2, and you get -3. Now I'm halfway there. Remember, I'm looking for where they intersect. They intersect at a point. So I have an x value, I need to find the y value that goes with it. So if x is -3, I'm going to plug in negative 3 into either one of these original equations to find y. Well, here y is already solved for, so it just makes more sense to plug into the second one. You will get the same answer if you use the first equation. So y equals x minus 4 is the equation I'm going to use. X, I'm going to take it out and put negative 3 because that's what it's equal to. And negative 3 minus 4 is negative 7. So I have an x and a y. I write my answer as an ordered pair. It does matter which one you put first. Ordered pairs are always x and then y, so negative 3 and then 7. You have to have parentheses around them. It is a point.